join us, my friend?
What's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you well.
Roger, good to see you again.
What's going on, Brian?
Hey, we've been talking every day, man. We've been talking every day, and I just want to let everybody know it's a very simple process. Yes, it's a very simple process, man. The PowerPoint slides does his knowledge no justice. When y'all get to Roger personally or his team, and you fill out the simple forms, the simple questions they ask, it's like taking candy from a baby.
Right. No, it really is. The simplicity of what this system is powerful. So let's do this. You know what, Roger? Let's say I had a trust, because I'll tell you, had a trust, but I know typically I was paying $4,000 or $5,000 just to get a trust. But some people out there say, well, yeah, I have a trust. I did that. My mother and father-in-law, they have a trust. Right now, my wife is going through some things, and now with the knowledge that she has now versus what my father-in-law did, she's seeing all the holes. Why don't you explain to us the difference between someone that has a regular trust and in regular trust, they're in a different jurisdiction than this. Explain the difference so people understand that.
Okay, so attorneys on average will range anywhere from $3,500 to as much as $7,500 for one trust, right? What they're going to put together for you is going to be something completely different than what we're going to put together for you. What they're going to put together is 9 times out of 10 a revocable trust, or most of you have probably heard the term a living trust. That's a common term, right? Here's the definition of a trust. A trust is a three-party contract in which one can create a binding inviolate entity. A three-party contract in which one can create a binding inviolate entity. Here's how a living trust or a grantor trust, they're the same thing, they're synonymous. Here's how those are usually set up. They will have the person who wants to set up the trust be the creator. They will also have that person be the trustee, and then they pick a loved one, a child or somebody, to be the beneficiary, right? Well, that violates the definition of a trust. A trust is a three-party contract. When you do it that way, and if you have a living trust right now, go look at it, and I guarantee you this is how it's set up. You're the creator, you're the trustee, and you pick the beneficiary. That's only two parties. Three positions, but two parties. So you violate the definition. And so what happens with that is you don't create a true trust contract that creates a separate legal entity. By IRS definition, it's a separate legal taxable person, right? What you end up creating with that type of trust is you create an alter ego. That's not a trust contract, it's a trust agreement. And there's no asset protection inside of a revocable trust, a grantor trust. You still own that stuff. So you put your stuff, all your assets into a trust, something unfortunate happens, you get in a car wreck, somebody gets hurt or perishes, everything you thought you had protected, there's no protection. It's good for probate. It will definitely get you around probate. It has no asset protection capability. Now, the second thing is they're going to put it in the state jurisdiction. And I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I will tell you this. The law of America, the true law of the land is English common law. And when you take that trust contract and you put it in the proper jurisdiction of law, it becomes bulletproof. We don't deal on statutory, we deal above the state.
That's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Well, I love that. So, Brian, I know that you've now started going through the process. What's a question that you know that you might have had that you know other people have? Just to have
Yeah, well,
clear
yeah,
up.
for sure. Until they actually see the form and the simplicity of the form, you won't see how simple it is. My main thing was, and it was real simple. The family trust, I mean, the business trust is where your money comes in. The family trust gets the money and disbursement from the business, and the family is you guys and your trustees that you put on. And then the foundation trust is third in line that takes whatever the family trust didn't spend. So that way, it's real simple: business trust, family trust, and foundation trust. And now you have a 501c3 and you're building a legacy and living a legacy and leaving a legacy. And I got this from you, Andamo. All a will does, for example, is guarantee that you will end up in probate. So,
Hey,
so
hey Brian, I say this. I say a will is an express invitation to probate.
not
An
express.
express invitation.
Express.
First
Quick,
class.
fast, and in a hurry.
In a hurry, yeah. So, guys, the hardest thing for me was to define my name. Like I was like, Roger, what should I call my business trust? What should I call my family trust. What should I call my foundation? And the hardest thing was just the name. So he gave me some ideas based on what he knows about me. But Roger, what I asked you today, I said, we did all our consultations and I got my paperwork. What about the investments that I've made? What about the money that may be in my savings account? What about my brokerage firm or my investment account? It just hit me. I'm like, where does that go? So where does the money we have right now, how does the trust protect that money?
And that's a great question. So the key is not to own it, but to control it, right? So you got $100,000 in a bank account. You're going to set up your trust and open up your trust bank account. You're going to move that money out of your name. You don't want it in your name.
There you go.
You still control it in the trust account. You have a stock account, a Schwab account, whatever.
Right.
You just open up another account with Schwab under the name of the trust, and you move everything into that. Now it's out of there's no more liability. You don't have the liability of ownership. Housing, everything.
Everything. Because I don't think people realize, because like you said, we keep it in millionaire and billionaire language. They don't realize that the trust is an actual entity that will have an account that you'll have access to, just like if you were a person. You know what I mean? So it hit me when you answered that question.
Here's how we make this simple for everyday folks, right? If you've ever had any sort of a business entity, a lot of people have LLCs or S corps, right?
Yep.
You get your paperwork, you take the paperwork to the bank, and you open up a bank account with $50.
Yep.
With $50 or $100. Once you get your trust documents notarized, I'm gonna tell you what to say to the bank to open up it, and they're gonna open it up with $50 or $100.
Yep.
That's all you need.
That's it.
And Brian, just so you know, that's exactly what I did. I literally just went. I had some assets in different places, and just took the paperwork, and it was just a paperwork exchange. It's like it's quick. It's like me, and I know you've done this for your son. When my kids were young, and we had a custodial account, and we put their name on the account, but I had control of it still because they were young. Well, that's all it was. It was just like now it's all goes there. I don't have to. My name is not on. My name isn't on anything.
Yeah.
Anything anymore.
So, Roger, how will I know? This is like how a lot of people think that I've been talked to. How will I know, Roger, when I need a trust? When am I trust ready? What qualifies me to get Roger's paperwork? Am I ready now? Do I need to wait until I have this? Roger, what makes me trustworthy and to see you?
That's a good question. So, in terms of protecting assets, you just weigh it out in your mind. What do I have, and is $2,500 worth protecting that? Like, if I have $5,000 in the bank, $2,500 may not make sense right now. I probably don't have $2,500 hanging around, right? So that might. But if I got $50,000 in the bank, then it starts to make more sense. So anything that you have that you want to protect, ask yourself, is $2,500 worth it to protect this for life? That's the first place. In regards to structuring your income and eliminating taxes and all of that, because we've reduced the price for MWR, my typical client, it starts to make sense about 100, 150 in profit. Now, because we reduced the price, I would say right around 70,000 in income, business income. If you're a W-2, you probably still want to be 100, 150, but we can do some damage. I can't eliminate taxes or alleviate taxes as a W-2, but if you're making 150, we can do some damage with the foundation. We can knock 30% of that out. But if you have business income through MWR or any other type of business, and you're making 70,000 plus, it's time for you to start examining when you want to pull that trigger.
Can you give a scenario, or maybe two, maybe a major and a minor, where because somebody had a trust in place, Brian, this is what they were able to do, or because she didn't, here's what happened to her. I'll give you an example. Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, when he passed away, the wife got some money, the mother got some money, but I want everybody to go research how much the government got out of his estate. We hear about James Brown, Mr. Grant, right? Had passed 10 years ago, but probate tied it up, and the family couldn't get any of those assets. What about some personal clients of yours? Because in this business, stories are everything. Maybe one or two stories of here's what was able to happen because she had her trust in place, or didn't.
I thought of one. Public figure.
Okay.
O.J. Simpson.
Okay.
O.J. Simpson is still surviving because he had a lot of his assets in trust.
There you go.
And they couldn't touch it. So that's a public figure. Um, in the 25 years that my mentor just passed last year, but in his 25 to 30 years before he left here, he only shared with me one client that actually had a lawsuit. But here's what happened: this guy owned a business. One of his employees made a mistake. It genuinely cost the customer a ton of money. Dude brought a lawsuit, but because we don't operate at the state level, all we did was he gave him the paperwork to challenge the court's jurisdiction. The court doesn't have jurisdiction over this trust. This is a federal organization. So if there's going to be a lawsuit brought, it has to be brought at the federal level. The attorney for the complainant, the dude who lost the money, most attorneys not equipped to operate. They don't deal at the federal level. So he literally walked away from a legitimate lawsuit because it was in the jurisdiction of law that saved us. So that's real. Now, I share with you guys a story from a young lady that I know that, I'll share this story again. A friend of mine is from Beaumont, Texas, where the first oil wells were drilled in the state of Texas. Me and her were talking about trust, and I could see she knew some stuff. Beaumont is old money, it's old oil money. She grew up there, so she knew about trust. She knew about a business trust. She asked me to come down and do a presentation for her realtor. She was a regional manager for Keller Williams. And so I went down there and did my presentation. Afterwards, she had this perplexed look on her face, and she said, "Roger, do you have to leave right away, or can you hang out for a little bit?" I said, "Yeah, I'm good. What's going on?" She pulls me into her office, closed the door. She says, "I want to tell you what happened to me when my husband passed away." I said, "Okay." She said, "We had 3 boys, and we set up 3 trusts for each one of them. They were true, irrevocable trusts. My mother was the trustee on all 3 trusts. The creator on all 3 trusts. I was the trustee, the one in control, right? Each boy was the beneficiary on their own trust. Her middle child, when he turned 18, was addicted to drugs. He didn't agree with his mom, and he wanted his inheritance right now. Went and got an attorney and found a judge that agreed with this kid and revoked her irrevocable trust. Gave this kid $500,000. He proceeded to blow every dime in less than 12 months. Here's a mother trying to do right with a level of information. She had a lot of information. She just didn't know to be in the right jurisdiction. Here's the problem, folks. When you're in a state jurisdiction, state judges are the authority for the state. And not always are you going to get an appeal. So if they make a decision, you cannot revoke an irrevocable trust. That's against the law. But a lot of our judges want to legislate from the bench. They don't necessarily follow the Constitution or court precedent. And you're not always going to be able to have a remedy for that. She did everything she could to protect her. This judge cost this kid his inheritance. So being in the proper jurisdiction of law is critical.
That's crazy. So this judge overturned it, made it irrevocable trust revocable, and because he had an addiction, she hurt his future. Basically, the judge ruined what the mother was trying to protect.
Destroyed his inheritance.
But had she been in the right jurisdiction, then they don't, because then now they don't just get to have a judge kind of overturn it, because the judge has to see a panel of federal judges, correct?
Well, here's what happens at the federal level, and you'll see this. When people go into court on the federal level, you typically get one judge, but you're guaranteed an appellate. You can appeal to a panel of judges, and it's always at least 3, and they hold each other accountable to the law. When you're at the state level, you're not always going to get an appeal, and you're never going to get a panel. Right? You got one judge making decisions, and sometimes he can make a wrong decision and mess you up thoroughly. Gotta come out of that jurisdiction.
And on a federal level, if you think for 1 minute that appellate judges overturn their friends and colleagues' decisions, it doesn't happen, guys. I've seen it, of course, in some street issues of people I know. Appellate judges don't go, "Yeah, Judge so-and-so was wrong." It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
So essentially, and Brian, why don't you do this, because we're getting close to the end here. First of all, Roger, the information just incredible. I'm seeing all the everyone's just like blown away. They love the education that they're getting, what the experts are doing. They understand. I think they're getting a sense that, wait a minute, for the first time, and Brian, I think you can address this too. People really feel like, wait a minute, I can truly make wealth real now. I can truly not only live the legacy as MWR is teaching us, but I can leave a legacy for real,
Yeah.
So that's exciting. But Brian, why don't you share with them how? Because one of the things that I knew that not everybody can scratch a check for 2,500, let alone 12,500. But we have something that creates business income, and we have the ability to put this all together and attract people that we never could attract before. We can now bring them here to MWR because they will be able to be in a position to take advantage of this new platform. So, Brian, why don't you kind of tie it all up for
Yeah.
us, and then we're going to go on and get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, especially with our performance bonus coming in March, um, ironically, Mr. Grant is taking his consultations in March. The new coded daily pay that we get right now. My income, for example, has a four-figure and soon to be five-figure per month increase with just that one bonus. Just the coded bonus will bring me an extra four figures and five figures per month. Now people say, well, Brian, that's you. You're regional five-star XYZ. No, this is what I'm saying to you guys. If you look at the way the compensation plan is structured, first of all, let's look at the way MWR is structured. When we help you increase your cash flow, that's your existing income. Cash flow means your money stays with you longer. Remember, cash flow is a time measurement, not a dollar measurement. Income is a dollar measurement. Cash flow is a time measurement. So your cash flow is 6 months. Your cash flow is 3 years. Your cash flow is 10 years. If you made another dime, if you didn't make another dime, how long would the cash flow you have coming in stay with you? So MWR is going to help you with your increase your current cash flow. It's real simple. That's the debt going down, the taxes going down, the expenses going down, your credit score is going up, your cash flow is up, and your assets are up. That's cash flow. Then we create cash flow by showing people how to increase their cash flow. That's our new coded bonus daily. Guys, when I look at my back office, I'm giving you a helicopter perspective. I see 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Every day that someone joins your organization, once you get to star level 3, which is basically 36 people in your organization, star level 3 is the key to the coded bonus that gives you the income to pay for this asset protection. Look, you know, Ryan is very, very humble, but I'll tell it to you guys straight. When you get to a point where the taxes you got, think about what he said, 70,000, 80,000. If you had an extra 20, 15, 18, 22,000 that was not going out in taxes, because if you make 70, you're getting taxed 18 to 26,000, right? What if that was in your pocket every year, Roger, times 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years? You need to work this business to the point where you got to get this trust fund. Yes, sir.
Yeah, one thing there, Brian, it's not just what you're keeping, but what you can do with that money.
There you go.
Putting it in the private reserve, putting it in the diversified cash flow account, putting it in the managed fund.
That's right.
How much interest can you earn in the next 20 years and with not giving away?
If you weren't giving it away.
Right.
Yeah. So it's the lost opportunity cost that the trust fund, whatever you do, please don't look at 2,500 or we don't have to sell you guys. You either can get it or you're not. But 2,500 or 12,500 or whatever, how much money would you have if you were investing the money that you were losing because you didn't have it? Okay, that's where this comp plan kicks in. 36 people is roughly 3 stars. And when you look in your back office every day and see these coded bonuses coming on a daily basis, it will change your perspective on this compensation plan. And then the third thing that we do is what? Passive income. And this is what Mr. Grant was talking about. When you're saving money on taxes and you put it into our investments, and now the passive income comes in, you become a couple of things. One, you're bulletproof. And I love the word that he used earlier, or in the presentation you'll see. It's 100% transparency. So it's not like you're hiding anything. Everything's transparent. It's just the way you're set up. It's not taxable by certain means, you know, and you become audit proof, and you become protected from lawsuits. So bulletproof, audit proof. I like any kind of proof that keeps the money in my household a lot longer. I'm with all the proofs, Mr. Grant, and I'm here to tell you, man, I'm excited about it, and I thank you for helping me come up with my names and the ease of the paperwork was really simple. The hardest part was what I should call it.
Hey, what you say about group, Brian? What you say about group?
Oh yeah. I said, Mr. Grant. I noticed every wealthy person I know, they use the word group, okay, in their name, right? Like Adamo, you ever notice that wealthy people
Yeah,
have the such and such group?
group, right.
The being group didn't ring right with me. I feel like I'm kind of fly, so I was trying to come up with something cool. So I had to put the word group in my trust just because I want to do a wealthy people too. So, hey,
Absolutely.
I love it, man. Don't let the name mess with you guys. Get your paperwork filled out. When he's ready, get the consultations in. It's gonna be the easiest thing you've ever done, and his firm will take good care of you.
Right, and it will be the best thing you've ever done. This is truly game changing for everyone in MWR. So anybody you bring into this environment, obviously I saw all the chats, everybody going crazy how phenomenal everything is. Just imagine the impact you can have on not only your family, but then the people around you, and having them have impact who have impact. It's that ripple effect that changes